Hey guys, thanks for choosing to watch our video today. What I'm doing today is changing a heating element in my oven, and I'll show you what things you'll need to replace it, and also I'll show you how to do it. Okay, the first reason why we're replacing the heating element in this oven today is because you can see this little break right here. It actually sparked and it broke. I already cleaned it up a little bit and threw away that part. But of course you can tell that that's not going to be working anymore. Now there's a couple of reasons why you're going to replace your heating element. Either it's not getting high enough to temp, or it's broken like so, or there's some cracks. Like you'll see little cracks on the corners or anywhere on this heating element, which will prevent it from doing its job. Okay, what you're going to need is the heating element. You'll also need is, and you can use it for a flathead or a Phillips or whatever. And but on my particular unit, it has a bolt of a quarter of an inch, and actually the end of these are a quarter of an inch. So you could just use this alone, or in some cases, some stoves will have a Phillips screwdriver head. Okay, so either or, whichever one yours requires. And then you need some pliers. You know, those pliers actually are better, and I'll explain why when I start doing the install. And also, you'll need some type of rope or wire, and I'll explain why you might need that as well. Okay, now, this particular heating element, I got at Lowe's, and this is the model number, and my oven is a Hotpoint, which is also, I believe, GE, and that's the model number 52002. And this is for the baking element, not the boiler element. This is just for the baking, the bottom one. Now, the reason why I chose this one, because actually it's pretty reasonable. It's $19.99 at Lowe's right now, and this is May of 2024. And the great thing is that it has a 5-year warranty, which is awesome. Actually, I've replaced this element before, and it went out like 2 years. So if you get one that has 5 years, at least you know you have it covered for 5 years and it'll be replaced. Okay, and now this is what this heating element looks like. And they pack it really well. Okay, so that's what you need to do this replacement. Now, before you start working on your oven, you want to make sure that the oven is completely off. Okay, now I turned the knob off, and I also switched the breaker box and turned that off as well. But you could also just remove the plug in the back of the oven, but I chose not to go that route. You go ahead and turn off at the breaker box, you can be fine. But you could do one or the other or both. But definitely turn this one off first, then go to breaker box, turn that one off, or go to the back and pull out the plug. Okay? Okay, here is where you can go ahead and remove those two. Either they're screws, either with a bolt head or screwdriver head. But in my case, it's going to be a bolt head. I'm going to take those two off. Like so. Now go ahead and pull this out and go to the next step. Okay guys, so what I do, because I did this last time and actually it did go in the back, wires for that comes out of the oven. That's one thing you have to be careful when you do this this job, is that it will, see this, you only have that much slack. So you want to make sure you tie a piece of rope or string or something. You could get some maybe little clips, just something to hold this wire from going back into the oven. If it goes back there, you have to actually take the whole back part off to get to those wires. So that's one thing you don't want to do. But other than that, it's really easy. I do apologize. I won't be able to unplug these wires, the heating element from the wires that's coming from the oven with only one hand. And I really can't set the camera where it needs to be to have enough room to do this. So next scene you're going to see is going to be with the new one replaced into those cables. Okay, just pull that out. These wires will stay in place because it's connected like that, and it's kind of leaning against the edge of opening here, right there. And then you just go ahead and put the other one in the same place. There is no way that you could put it in the wrong way, as long as you have these little parts right here, which is underneath the heating element, touching the base of the oven. If this is pointing upwards, pointing up, then you have it the wrong way. Okay? And when you pull out this heating element, it's going to be curved, as you can see. See, the heating element is curved where the part that plugs into the oven. So you want to go ahead and, like, it's kind of like this. The heating element is like this, and you have to raise it up. You're going to curve it upwards so that you could get access to the wires that's inside the oven. Okay? What I want to tell you guys is when you do remove those wires from the oven, if it feels like it's coming out very easy, the female part of the wires that's coming out of the oven, if it comes and you pull it up, you know, separate it from the heating element part, if it comes out easy, you want to pinch the female part that comes in from the oven a little bit with, that's what the needle nose pliers comes in handy. You want to squeeze a little bit so that when you put the new heating element, it's nice and snug. You don't want it loose, because what happens if it's loose and you try to push it back into the oven, if it's too loose, it's going to come apart, and you're going to have a hard time trying to get to that wire, and you have to go through the part I told you. You have to take out the whole back part of the oven to get access to that. So when you separate the heating element from that wire, the old one that's damaged, you're replacing. Again, if it seems loose, it comes out pretty easy, you'll save yourself some problems in the future. Go ahead and get your needle nose pliers and just pinch it slightly. You don't want to crush it. Just slightly enough to where it's going to be snug enough, okay? Just a little pinch. That's all you really need, okay? From the needle nose pliers on the female part of the wire. Just to let you know, guys. Okay, stay tuned. Okay, guys. Now, just FYI, if you do tie a knot on those wires that are coming from inside the oven, don't tie them too tight. I had to wrestle with it just a little bit, try to untie it. It actually held the two wires, as you can see in there, really well, but it was hard to untie it because I tied it pretty tight. So just some tips for you out there. You want to tie it in a knot, but not knot, but just like, you know, one knot where you can unravel it pretty easy, but make it a little loose enough to where you can actually unravel it. Okay? All right, so now, as you can see, is I have it in there. It's pushed as far as it could go. Now you have to lift it up like this, like that, so it could go inside. And then when it goes inside all the way, you lower it, and then you can see where the holes will line up to put the bolts. Alright, well, the screws actually. Okay, now go ahead and get those put in. Just hold on for just a moment. Alright guys, I went ahead and put the other screw in. Now, what I would suggest, when you put these in, you don't want to cross thread them. So kind of go back, so counterclockwise, until you actually hear it kind of like you hear a little notch, like kind of like that, and then start going forward, because then you don't want to cross thread it. Okay, kind of right in. Okay, it's a little tip, prevent from cross threading, and then you have some other issues. Not a good thing. Alright, you want to put it nice and snug. You don't want to make it too loose. Nice and snug on both, as you can see. Alright, there you go. So now, everything looks pretty good. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and Just realign this a little bit. It's kind of just off a little bit. You can see, just make sure that for both of these sides are laid and flat. Okay, and then you want to tighten it up. Well, I just finished tightening up and one kind of was a little raised, so just loosen it up and do that again. Okay, let me go ahead and do that. I won't be able to do it just with one hand, and just stay tuned. All right, guys. Well, that's it. Now you just double check everything. It looks like it's flat. Yeah, pretty flat. So you want to make sure it's not like too high, because then when it starts to heat up, it might start to vibrate. But yeah, everything looks good. Now just remember to go ahead and go to your circuit breaker, or if you remove the plug in the back, go ahead and plug that in and you'll be good to go. Alright, if this video helped you out in any way, shape, or form, please give it a like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, guys, God bless.